Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, this next match will be the match of the century. So, without further ado, let's get ready to rumble! In the right corner, we have our favorite socialist, Bernie Sanders. I am ready to redistribute the wealth of millionaires and billionaires, but I am also ready to redistribute my fists to your face. And in the right corner, we have the Native American princess, Elizabeth Warren.
Once I am done with you, you won't even be able to afford my free healthcare plan.
Well, I will make the gulags look like a summer camp when I am done with you.
Oh, yeah, well, at least I have the announcer on my side.
Wait, is that true, CNN? Oh, no way. We would never, ever do such a thing. Round one begins now. Ding, ding, ding.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Dockery with the Dockery Docket. We are back again with the very 10th episode of the Dockery Docket, and there is a lot of stuff going on. I almost couldn't cram it all into one episode. I almost had to make two, but then again, that would cause me severe stress and anxiety. So I'm going to keep it at one this week. I'm going to try and do 2 episodes. I don't know yet, okay? Don't get your hopes up for 2 episodes a week. Don't get your hopes up yet, because I'm not sure if it is going to happen yet or not. So we are going to jump right into the news, and usually I don't like talking about Democratic candidates, especially when they're in the primaries, because I find it very boring and very, non-interesting. But something interesting did happen. I was driving home from school when I got this notification on one of my news apps, and if they want to support our show, that'd be great. It's a news app, I believe that's what it's called. Oh, no, it's called Smart News. So Smart News, if you're listening, come support us. But anyway, a notification pops up, and so I get home and I look at it, and I see that it says that Bernie Sanders said that Elizabeth Warren can't win the 2020 presidential nomination, and I was floored. I was shocked by this. This was insane. Bernie Sanders saying that Elizabeth Warren can't win the presidential nomination? What? This is going to cause a huge fist fight. This is going to be incredible. Everyone, get your popcorn, because they are going to battle it out. Our 2 favorite socialist candidates are going to clash together, and what is going to happen next? So, for some background of this was all from CNN. Every single part of the story was from CNN, and that'll be important later on. So the 2 of them, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, had a private meeting in 2018 before any of them announced that they were running for president in 2020. And so they talked about, how they were going to love each other and, not attack each other, which is very nice. I mean, it's very nice of them to do that. And they also discussed how best to take on President Donald Trump. And Elizabeth Warren laid out 2 main reasons she believes that she would be a strong candidate. She could make a robust argument about the economy and earn broad support from female voters because, of course, she's a woman, so, apparently that means that you automatically get the woman vote when you are a female. And then Sanders responded by saying that he did not believe a woman could win. Bernie! How dare he? Does this mean that Bernie Sanders is a brutal sexist? Must we believe that Elizabeth Warren said because she's a woman? The whole Me Too movement, believe all women. We must believe every single woman because if not, then we are all a bunch of sexists, we're all a bunch of racists and stuff like that. So what does this mean? And the Twitter world went absolutely nuts about this. Especially, they call them the Bernie Bros, which those are just people who support Bernie Sanders, but they went absolutely ballistic about this. And instantly, there were hashtags of hashtag Never Warren, hashtag Never Bernie, and so the fighting was beginning with these campaign bases, and it was incredible to watch. But we found out, basically, that because Bernie Sanders is 1,286 years old, that he has videos spanning from, I believe, the beginning of time to now. But he has many videos of him saying that any race, any gender, anyone could be president. Bernie Sanders also responded, he himself responded to this ludicrous idea that he said that Elizabeth Warren couldn't win the presidential nomination by saying,
"It is ludicrous to believe that at the same time, the same meeting with where Elizabeth Warren told me that she was going to run for president, I told her that a woman couldn't win," Sanders said. "It's sad that 3 weeks before the Iowa caucus and a year after the private conversation, staff who weren't in the room are lying about what happened. What I did say that night was that Donald Trump is a sexist, is a racist, a liar who would weaponize whatever he could. Do I believe women can win in 2020? Of course. After all, Hillary Clinton beat Donald Trump by 3 million votes in 2016.
So this makes sense because this goes with what Bernie said. This isn't like Bernie Sanders saying in 1986 that women can't be president, and now he's like, now I believe that women can be president. No, he's believed it from the very beginning. Now, it is incredible, what Bernie said, that this was released 3 weeks before the Iowa caucus. So this was intentionally released by the Warren campaign to make Bernie Sanders look bad. And listen, I don't like Bernie Sanders. I don't like Elizabeth Warren, but this was very, very, very rude on Elizabeth Warren's part. And it goes to show just how terrible of a person Elizabeth Warren is. And so this also was released right before the Democratic debate. This was released one day before the very final Democratic debate before the Iowa caucuses. So this was fresh on CNN's mind. CNN was the one who released the report, and so CNN believed that they should just go after Bernie Sanders. And they should go and they should take teams with Elizabeth Warren and then sort of just bury Bernie because he's an old socialist. But they're not saying that. They're saying that he's a brutal sexist and a liar. So this was fresh in CNN's mind, and it led to a very interesting exchange between the debaters and also between Bernie Sanders. Now, I have to play this on my phone because I'm in sort of a new studio that I'm trying to use. I think it's a lot better than the other studio because the other one has the actual live radio. This one doesn't have a live radio, and I'm not sure how to play audio on the computer onto here. So you're going to have to deal with my phone, okay? I'm sorry, but I'll make sure to figure it out next week, and hopefully everything will work out. So this is fresh in CNN's mind, and they are now asking Bernie about the situation that just happened. And just listen, just take a listen. It's fantastic.
Votes. How could anybody in a million years not believe that a woman could become president of the United States? And let me be very clear. If any of the women on this stage or any of the men on this stage win the nomination, I hope that's not the case. I hope it's me. But if they do, I will do everything in my power to make sure that they are elected in order to defeat the most dangerous president in the history of our country.
So Senator Sanders, I do want to be clear here. You're saying that you never told Senator Warren that a woman could not win the election.
That is correct.
Senator Warren, what did you think when Senator Sanders told you a woman could not win the election?
I disagreed. Bernie is my friend, and I am not here to try to fight with Bernie.
So CNN is calling Bernie Sanders a liar. He basically just had this whole big ramble. I already read some of it about how he believes that women can be president and go back in time and you can see all the videos and all this stuff. And then CNN pops up and says, now, Elizabeth Warren, how did it feel when Bernie told you that you couldn't win the presidential election? Media bias overload. Why is it that CNN loves Elizabeth Warren so much? I have no idea. It is the craziest thing ever. So this fight is going to be intense. And so instantly once this happened, there were many people on social media who were blowing up, calling CNN trash. And it was amazing because there were left-wing people calling CNN trash. And it was incredible. It was the craziest thing ever because if only there was a political candidate who ran for president in, say, I don't know, 2016, who said that, you know, CNN was a terrible news organization and they were biased against him and that, you know, they were releasing false information about him and his campaign. Who would that be? Oh, that's right. That was Donald Trump. So now we got Donald Trump and Bernie supporters sort of in the same boat, and it is hilarious because they both definitely disagree on most things regarding politics, but we can finally agree that CNN is a garbage news organization, and that's what makes me so happy about this whole event that happened. This also led into the very end of the debate where where Elizabeth Warren walked over to Bernie Sanders' podium. Bernie Sanders, being the nice communist that he is, decided to reach out his hand to shake Elizabeth Warren's hand, and Elizabeth Warren sort of was like, no, I'm not going to shake your hand. And she was like, you called me a liar on national TV. And Bernie Sanders was like, no, I did not call you a liar on national TV. You called me a liar on national TV. We're not going to talk about this. And then Tom Steyer's in the background like, I just want to say hi to Bernie. Tom Steyer, get out of here. Go away. I want to see fists fly. I want to see blood in the Democratic primary. Okay, I want to see blood. So Tom Steyer, get out of the way and let's hear what Bernie and Elizabeth Warren have to say. Okay? But now it's over, so we can't really go back and have them do that, which is sad. It's very, very sad because there would be blood everywhere and it would be fantastic. So this whole argument between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie is sort of helpful to Joe Biden, I think. I think this will personally help Joe Biden because, you know, Joe Biden is sort of just standing there like, oh, well, those kids are fighting, so I'm just going to stand here and say nothing. And, I mean, it makes Bernie look like, or not Bernie, it makes Biden look like the sane candidate. Even though he's not, even though he can't put a sentence together to save his life, it makes Joe Biden look like a stable genius compared to these two. All the yelling and the screaming of Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. So now we are going to move on to our second story today on the Dockery Docket. Of course, the day after the Dockery Docket was released, the previous episode, we ended the last episode talking about how impeachment was in the news and that the articles of impeachment were still sitting on Nancy Pelosi's desk and that those haven't moved. Well, the day that that episode came out, the documents started moving. They started moving again. Woo! And so the articles were signed by Nancy Pelosi, and this moment was very, very solemn. It was very, very sad because just like we said in the past episode about impeachment, Nancy Pelosi did not want to do this. Nancy Pelosi did not want to impeach the president. She wanted him to stay in office. I'm telling you right now, she wanted him to stay in office. She said, why do I have to do this? Why? But she must have heard some joke beforehand or something, like she was watching Friends or something, and she heard a funny joke on that show because she couldn't stop smiling while she was signing the papers. She could not stop smiling, and it was so aggravating to watch because, you know, she had 8 pens, I believe. There were 8 pens, and she was signing with all 8 pens. So Nancy Pelosi signed with all these pens, and then she handed out the pens. You know, she's like, oh, here you go. Here you go, Maxine Waters. Here you go, Jerry Nadler. Thank you all for your great work on this fantastic bill. It almost seems that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats signed a bill to cure cancer or to completely destroy poverty because they're so happy, they're so excited, they're so glad about all of this stuff. They're so glad, they're so happy about impeachment. Oh, and the pens were delivered on a golden platter to Nancy Pelosi. So, I mean, it goes to show you just how much the Democrats wanted this to happen. And they were also, with the little pens, they were taking pictures. You know, they were all happy. I mean, seriously, this is like going to a funeral, laughing during the service, and then at the end of the service, taking a selfie with the casket. This is what it's like. Because this is supposed to be a very solemn moment. You know, the president, you're accusing the president of trying to rig the next election. And you're trying to say that Donald Trump interfered in the last election. So you should be like, this is very serious. This is monumental. And then you go on a talk show and you give a fist bump to the host. Listen, okay? Listen very carefully to my voice. Democrats wanted this from the beginning. I said this in the past impeachment episode, and I will say it now. Democrats wanted this from the very beginning. And it is important to remember that because it is the truth. You know, they're all happy. They're all smiley. They're all excited because now President Trump has this stain on his record that says that he was impeached, even though it was a extremely partisan impeachment. Not one Republican voted for the impeachment, meaning that it was all Democratic and it was super duper partisan. And it's also amazing to go back and watch videos of these Democrats when Bill Clinton was getting impeached because they had the same beliefs as the Republicans. They said, we don't believe that it should be partisan, that it should be nonpartisan. And then the whole witness thing, they didn't want witnesses to be in the court, but we'll talk about that later on. So after Nancy Pelosi signed them, after the Penn photo shoot, after all of that, the documents were then slowly moved to the Senate's office where the documents will meet their demise. Hopefully. But this is where the documents will meet their demise as they will be given to the Senate. They were given to Chuck Schumer, who is the Senate Majority Leader, also known as the Turtle, who is my favorite person. Whenever my dad is listening to any political stuff and Mitch McConnell comes on, it's my favorite because Mitch McConnell's like, they put the impeachment pens on a golden platter, and then they had Nancy Pelosi sign it, and she was smiling. And I love Mitch McConnell. I have a book of his. It's really great. So basically what's going to happen next is the documents are now in the Senate. The Senate is going to vote on if there should be witnesses called in. Now, the Democrats are saying that there has to be witnesses called in, and there are some Republicans who are on the fence. They're kind of like, yeah, I mean, we could have some witnesses. That would be okay. That wouldn't be too bad. We could do that. Let's see. So there has to be a vote of 51 or over. If some Republicans jump over to the Democratic side because the Democrats are more than likely going to say yes, then they will have witnesses come in. And I personally think that it would be good for witnesses to come in. If you are guilty of something, or if you are innocent of something, you want as many people there as possible to say, no, he didn't do this. No, he didn't do that. No, he didn't do this. And Donald Trump should say this. Donald Trump should be like, yes, bring in John Bolton. Yes, bring in Rudy Giuliani. Bring in whoever you want, because I know 100% that I am innocent. And that might not be a very popular opinion on my part, but I think it is important. And also, when you call in witnesses, that also means that the Democrats can call on witnesses, and it also means that the Republicans can call in witnesses. So the Democrats can call in John Bolton, William Barr, possibly, I don't know, Mike Pompeo, and the Republicans can call in people like Joe Biden. They can call in Hunter Biden. They could call in the president of Ukraine to talk about how there was no pressure. So it'll be very interesting to see where this leads. The thing about calling in witnesses is that this should have been done in the House. This already should have been done in the House, but because the Democrats sort of pushed it through, now we have to wait on these different things. And I know I just said that I agree that witnesses should be there, which I still do. I'm not going to just change my opinion in 2 seconds flat. But for future reference, the House should have taken more time to get this thing done. But apparently it was so urgent. And Donald Trump was going to steal the 2020 election that they had to do it right now. They do it right now, and then Nancy Pelosi holds the papers for, a week? 3 weeks? It's all ridiculous. It's all a sham, and we can remember, okay? Remember my phrase. The Democrats wanted this from the beginning. Say it with me now, please. Everyone, stop what you're doing right now, except if you're driving. If you're driving right now, continue to have your eyes on the road, but say it with me. The Democrats wanted this to happen, okay? They wanted it to happen from the very beginning of Donald Trump's presidency. The day that Donald Trump was elected president, the very first day, there's a news article that came out that said, impeachment of Donald Trump starts right now. Hopefully, Mitch McConnell has it all down. And that's what I'm truly most excited about, is just for these to be dropped. these impeachment articles to just drop and be like, you did this for nothing. And then we can focus on more important things. You know, the Democrats can stop blaming Trump for everything. We'll have a happy, peaceful world. And more than likely, the Dockery Docket will cease to exist because there'll be no politics to talk about, because it would all be happy, cheerful rainbows when these impeachment articles are dropped. Yeah, I wish. And so this leads us to our Babylon Bee article of the week, which includes House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Woo! So the article is titled, "It was a somber day for the U.S. as House Democrats formalized the impeachment of President Trump. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi took 7 solemn hours to sign the articles of impeachment with 582 custom pens on silver trays before she sent them over to the Senate. As the articles were handed over, the impeachment dancers entered the room, marking the dark day with a well-choreographed dance number accented by a tasteful amount of pyrotechnics. It is gravely serious to accuse a president of high crime and misdemeanors," Pelosi said as dancers gyrated behind her. "And we do this reluctantly and with a heavy heart." After the ceremony and the dancers' numbers concluded, Democratic leaders all had a moment of silence to reflect on the gravity of their undertaking, the only sound now being the making of impeachment balloons by the impeachment clowns there to entertain the children. With President Trump officially impeached and the trial now in the hands of the Senate, the Democrats left feeling their important work was done, except for all the fundraising emails they have to write. So, once again, I will remind you that this whole impeachment idea is a sham. And also, I forgot to mention that the impeachment actually starts today. The trial actually starts today. So, I mean, if you want to watch that, go ahead and watch it. But if you don't want to watch it, I'll be here to talk about it next week on the Dockery Docket on Tuesday at noonish. Also, fun news. I have an Instagram account now where I post funny pictures and little memes, and I can also post pictures from the video that you're watching right now. You can also follow me on Twitter. All the links will be down in the description. It'd be awesome if you follow me. That way you can get more updates on recent videos that are coming up, important news that is happening, and also it'll make you laugh, because I think of myself as a very witty person, a very exciting person. Make sure to tell your friends about the Dockery Docket. I'm planning on doing something big for when we reach 50 subscribers. So, until next week, Tuesday at noonish, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving. Goodbye.